Middlesbrough have signed Kaly Sene from Lausanne for 1.5 million on a 4-year deal. Kaly did make his debut against Sheffield United, so this video is probably well overdue, but we're going to talk about him right now ahead of Boro's game against Preston. And Dana, kicking things off, what are your thoughts on Kaly Sene?
Well, he's got a good blend of attributes, I would say. His physical profile is pretty impressive. He's 6'1", 6'2", and he possesses pretty good upper body strength, but he's also really quick off the mark as well. There was a game he played pretty recently against Besiktas in the UEFA Conference League qualifying round, where he was quite impressive in his hold-up play, his link-up play, and his display of pace as well. His physique enables him to hold off defenders and bring others into play. So if Boro want the type of target man that is strong at receiving the ball to feet, then Sen is a good option for that. I wouldn't expect him to be the type of target man that gets up to win flick-ons, though. There wasn't really that much of know about his aerial ability from what I observed. But I did notice that he operates around the right-hand side quite a lot. I'm not really sure if that's a natural part of his game or whether it's on team instruction, but I think that was quite interesting because he's very latte lath. I remember latte lath always used to venture out into the left-hand side, but there's many ways in which the two are quite similar. I think Sen, much like latte lath, has that hint of beautiful chaos to his game. And to be fair, we already saw a little bit of it against Sheffield United when Bergsaw kind of balls up that attack, and he should have played Sen in much earlier than he did. By the time that he did play Sen in, well, Sen wasn't set for the ball. He falls over, but he immediately gets up and goes to counter press, actually concedes a foul. But it's a telling part of his game because he's a very busy, very involved type of striker, both in and out of possession. I suspect, much like Latelath, actually, he might make a chance seem a little bit harder than it is. But his penalty box play is very good. He always finds himself in the right place at the right time to score. Plenty of his goals for Lausanne, actually, are genuinely just him being positioned perfectly for a rebound. And you could question, is that luck? Is that just him having the knack? I think that is up for debate, but he is fun. I like the diversity within his game. He's a good hold-up player. He can stretch the play. He can drop deep and link up as well. And just a word for his mentality too, which is very impressive. He will put himself about the pitch. He said in his Boro interview, "I give my best on the pitch every game and run a lot for my teammates, not just to attack, but also to defend, because that's also so important." He is a very good presser / chaser. I don't think Sen sees much as a lost cause. I'd expect him to test defenders and disrupt that build-up from the back from the opposition or from the opposition's goalkeeper. So, yeah, in conclusion, fun, raw, capable of good, capable of maybe not so good. But I think for 1.5 million, it's a pretty decent deal, and hopefully he can be a success. He is in a good little run of goal-scoring form as well, 6 goals in 8 games before joining Boro. So, yeah, have we signed a player that's on the upward curve? I certainly hope so.
Yeah, and for me, I have one line in my notes, and it was box of chocolates. You just don't know what you are going to get with him, I think. And when I think that's so beautiful in a way, because I love these type of signings. And it was the same with Emmanuel Latte-Lath. I remember when we watched him, and I just knew straight away, wow, he's going to be fun. And two, the longer he touches the ball, the worse he gets. And you could definitely see that with Latte-Lath. But with Kaly Sene, look, he has the pace to stretch defenders and get in behind. He's very energetic, like you mentioned there. The 40 plus counter presses last year was really solid. And then technically as well, you know, he's a player for me who's, when you were saying there, is it good luck? Is it fit? I think if you are in that position time and time again, like he shows, it shows that it's a very much a strength for him. You know, those 12 goals from the 14 XG that he's had over the last season or so. It's signs of a really good striker. If they're anywhere near that level, it shows that, you know, they should be finishing the chances, and they are finishing them. And it shows that there's a player who you can continue to develop on that as well. I think from an improvement standpoint, you know, like linking up the play and that final third decision making, like you mentioned there, D, and that's where the box of chocolates analogy came in for me, because I think sometimes he may do the hard thing right, but the good thing poor. And you think, oh, okay, that's a little bit frustrating, but that's all stuff that is coachable. It's something that you can 100% get the most out of him. And I think there's so much upside to the deal that we're bringing in with him as well. For me, if I was could continue to describe him, apart from being a box of chocolates, I would say he's a very confident player. He's definitely a confidence player, in my opinion. Very hardworking, not afraid of those big moments. And he has got that overhead kick against Grasshoppers as well, which I think was one of the notable ones which I've seen. But then he's a player for me who I think can really develop quite well in the Championship, to be honest. I think he looks like a low risk, high upside type of deal with the fee that we've got. But in terms of how he fits, I would say in terms of Rob Edwards' system, we've seen him at Luton and now with Middlesbrough to be that more vertical team, try and play on the transition. We play a lot through Hayden Hackney now in terms of where we didn't in the first 1.5 games, but now we do a lot more so. But for me, he's a player who can play in that. If you watched a bit of Luton, it's that Jacob Brown role. It's just the right of the striker, but someone who can really run the channels, press high, and create space for that centre forward to get in. And that's where I could just see that parallel of how he was potentially playing. But for me, he's going to definitely be a threat on the cross element of it. He's got a good height and good strength. So there's a lot that I like, and there's a lot that can excite, and there's a lot of frustrations where you could see it from Boro fans. But I think that's what makes it beautiful, and I think that's what makes it great, and I think that's what makes it fun. And I just love these type of deals. Someone who you've barely ever heard of a few weeks ago, and now coming in with all of this fun characteristics about them. It's what makes it all about, I'm really excited by it. And you saying now on his debut against Sheffield United, it excited fans, didn't it? It looks like fans were really bought into him, winning the ball back, getting it forward. Yes, he had those chances, but again, from a cameo appearance, I think that was really fun. But what else do you think you can bring to the side? Is there anything else that we could maybe look at and say, well, you know what, he could bring probably another layer on top of maybe that Jacob Brown role or that second role? Do you think he might play that second fiddle to the centre forwards, or do you think he'll play just a little bit deeper?
I mean, it depends, because as I said, at Lausanne, he did venture out to the right hand side a bit, and to be fair, he was in almost a winger position at times, and I think it will be interesting to see how Boro play him, whether it's similar, because I certainly think if Michael Carrick was here, it probably would be, wouldn't it? But with Rob Edwards, I think he would probably want Kaly Sene to be in and around the box. But because of the way that Kaly Sene just is as a player, he said it himself, he wants to be involved. He's very busy. He's all involved. He's a very all-action type of player. As I said, I don't think anything is a lost cause for Kaly Sene. He'll press, he'll chase, he'll harry. He'll be very busy in and around the 18-yard box and even deeper as well. So I think I see him as the competition option for Tommy Conway, which I think will be really good, because with Kaly Sene, I mean, if we look at his goals in the last few seasons, but certainly at Lausanne, he got 12 goals and 4 assists in 39 appearances within his first season, and then 7 goals, 5 assists in the 39 appearances last season, 6 goals and 8 apps so far this season, as I mentioned. I think he's that type of striker that he won't be the main man. At least at Middlesbrough, it will be Tommy Conway that's the main man. But as long as he can chip in with 8 to 10 goals a season, for a second choice striker, or the competition striker, as I'm going to call it, I think that's pretty good. And I don't think he has to be necessarily so prolific, just as long as he can chip in every now and again. And I hope that he can, because much like you, I do like what he can offer us. I like his profile. I like the blend of physicality and good link-up play, and also the pace as well. That's something that Boro don't necessarily have, or haven't had anyway, coming into the season. So the fact that we've kind of ticked that box there with somebody, I mentioned on the post Sheffield United podcast that he made a run down the left-hand side, so the east-hand side, and my tag went, fucking hell, he can move. And it was just this acceleration that, okay, it might not have ended with anything, because he tried a cross that was just, there was too much on it. And I think we could kind of expect that with Kaly Sene. A little bit of refinement needed in his game at times with his end product, but that acceleration, I think, is really important that we can have. And yeah, just you've mentioned it many times about adding more layers to Middlesbrough's attack and creativity wise. I think, yeah, really good, because in terms of creativity, just being able to drop deep a little bit, trap the ball, started to get Sheffield United actually went in. Morris was advancing forward, really good. Just hold the ball up a little bit, lay it off to the advancing midfielder. That's what Kaly Sene did. So, yeah, like the profile, like what he can bring us. I just hope we see more good than the not so good and the frustrating and the what the hell just happened there type thing.
Yeah, and look, with that fee, it is low risk. It has a high upside. It has the characteristics that work. But also, you saying there around adding layers, yeah, I wanted to see more and more of it under Matt Carrick, but now under Rob Edwards as well, where things are, we're not as creative right now, but it's going to happen. But having David Strelic, Tommy Conway, Kaly Sene, got Delano Bergzog, who will most likely have lesser game time now, but Morgan Whittaker, there's Riley McGree there, there's Sverre
Nipan as well.
yeah, so we've got options, Don. We've actually got
We
options,
do.
Don, in those attacking areas, and it gives Rob Edwards the ability to chop and change things per game now, and that's the best thing you can have for a coach. But the most important part of this show, D, is that rating. Everyone comes for the rating. We've seen it in the data. Everyone just skips the whole analysis and goes, how at 5 is this player going to be? We've both said how low risk. We've both said high upside. And we've both said we like the profile. But how are you going to rate this out of 5?
I think I'm being cautious with Sen because I
Yeah.
think he's got a decently high ceiling, but a pretty low floor, I would say. As we said, unpredictable box of chocolates can offer you some really good moments of quality and some moments where you're pulling your hair out, I think. So I'd probably land on somewhere in the middle, maybe a 3 to a 3.5 with him, but still, I'm excited. Just because it's not 4 and a 5 doesn't mean that I don't like this signing. I do like it. I just think that, again, it's with him, with all the players that we've signed from overseas, how do they adjust to the championship? How do they adjust to the, I don't know, rigorous nature of this ever-changing bonkers division? I think that in terms of the physical profile, he's got that nailed down, and I think that will stand him in really good stead. But just if he can refine that end product, I think we've got a really good player there that fits the way that Rob Edwards wants to play. Particularly, actually, what really stands out is the counter press. So yeah, I really like it, and I hope he can be a successful signing. But I'm going to lean on the cautious side and say probably 3.5 for me.
Yeah, I was 3.5 as well. More so optimistic because I just love this type of signing. And in terms of profile, like we alluded to a little bit earlier on, around that tactical fit around Edwards, he's a great profile to have. And he did remind me of that Jacob Brown type role quite a lot when I've been watching a little bit of Luton previously, just as I'm piecing together more and more around Rob Edwards' management, how he's bringing things over to Boro. I think that you are starting to see quite a lot of those parallels now. But yeah, 3.5 for me. Excited, and I'm loving. I just cannot wait to see more of him. To be honest, I think 4 years is a good time for him to develop and get that consistency in front of goal. But for me, yeah, I'm very excited just because I love this type of signing. But yeah, Dana, thank you very much for joining me as always. And to listeners and viewers, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Boro Breakdown. Help us get found, chatted, and all that kind of fun stuff. But this has been the Lowdown Kaly Sene, and that was all your Boro Matchday Chat in a pod. Up the Boro.